The Judiciary Committee hearing was expected to follow a familiar script: cameras on, lawmakers seated, stacks of documents ready, and another long discussion that most viewers would quickly forget. But within minutes, the atmosphere shifted. Across the dais sat Jim Jordan, steady and confident, prepared to present his argument with his usual direct and relentless style. Nearby, Jasmine Crockett watched quietly, composed and attentive, showing no reaction as the discussion began. The topic initially sounded technical: policy interpretation, oversight responsibilities, and legal arguments, the kind of exchange that often fades into procedural routine. Jordan built his case carefully, speaking with certainty and presenting his claims as though the conclusions were already settled. For a moment, the room followed his pace. Then Crockett activated her microphone, and everything slowed. She didn't raise her voice or interrupt aggressively. Instead, she began asking calm, precise questions. Each question targeted a small but critical detail, highlighting potential gaps or inconsistencies buried in earlier statements. Jordan responded quickly at first, attempting to widen the discussion and regain control of the narrative, but Crockett repeatedly brought the focus back to the same specific point, narrowing the conversation with each follow-up. Her tone remained conversational, but the effect created controlled pressure, shifting the dynamic from presentation to scrutiny. As members shifted in their chairs and staffers reviewed their notes, Crockett asked whether documented evidence supported the claims being made. When references were offered in general terms, she pressed for direct citations, creating moments of noticeable silence that carried tension throughout the chamber. She then introduced official records that appeared to contradict earlier statements, transforming the exchange from political argument into a debate centered on factual accuracy. Jordan responded by emphasizing interpretation and legal nuance, but Crockett remained anchored to documented timelines and recorded testimony, repeatedly returning to the same evidence with calm persistence. As the discussion continued, Jordan attempted to broaden the argument to principles of oversight and congressional authority, yet Crockett methodically steered the conversation back to outcomes rather than intentions, forcing the hearing to focus on results rather than political framing. The exchange intensified not through raised voices but through strategic questioning. Crockett simplified complex explanations into direct yes or no inquiries, making the conversation easier to follow for observers while placing increasing pressure on the responses. At one point, she asked whether the American public deserved clear answers, then followed by questioning whether documented proof existed to support earlier claims. When explanations referenced investigative patterns rather than concrete evidence, Crockett calmly responded that conclusions without documentation could weaken public trust. The tension grew as she referenced prior testimony word for word, asking how those statements aligned with present arguments. Each pause in the conversation became louder than any speech, with lawmakers, staffers, and observers recognizing that the exchange had moved beyond routine disagreement. As Crockett's speaking time neared its end, she returned to the official record and summarized the timeline once more, stating calmly that the documentation remained unchanged and available for public review. When her microphone light turned off, the chamber fell silent. There was no applause or dramatic reaction, only the recognition that the hearing had taken an unexpected turn. As proceedings resumed, the formal rhythm of congressional debate returned, but the atmosphere remained different. Staff members whispered, cameras captured lingering reactions, and clips of the exchange quickly spread beyond the hearing room. Commentators and viewers analyzed the moment as a clash of two distinct political styles, one broad and forceful, focused on principle and argument, and the other precise and documentation-driven, focused on narrowing the conversation until clarity became unavoidable. The moment resonated not because of confrontation, but because of discipline and preparation. By maintaining focus on verified records and refusing to move away from documented evidence, Crockett transformed what could have been a routine committee exchange into a widely discussed example of accountability in congressional oversight. Long after the hearing concluded, the central question remained for those watching: when debates unfold under public scrutiny, who remains anchored to documented facts and who shifts toward interpretation? That question lingered far beyond the committee room, leaving observers reflecting on how calm persistence and clear documentation can reshape even the most routine political proceedings.